Welcome our dear student of second prep in a new episode of Madrasa على الهوا. Today inshallah we are going to continue the last unit in our syllabus and the last lesson in our syllabus, which is called Extinction. Okay, this is the last lesson we have in this term inshallah. First of all, we must know what's meant by extinction, which is the title. Extinction means is the dying of all members of this species. Yani we haven't any more living organism from this species. This is why, because the continuous decrease, the number in continuous decrease without compensating the decreased number. As we said that they died with a large number and the born one with less number until all these number is finished, all these species die out. This is what's meant by extinction. We have an old extinct animal like dinosaur and like the mammoth. They are living organisms that found a million of years ago, and we are called this animal old extinct animal. But why this animal extinct a long time ago? And this is what we call it massive extinction, or the reasons of massive extinction, which also known as the old age extinction. Again, we have the definition of extinction: dying of all member of the species, or the another definition, which is decrease or continuous decrease in the number without compensate. We have an old reasons or causes of the extinction, and the old reason make a massive extinction. What's meant by massive extinction? Large number of living organisms extinct. We know that recently only the living organisms that live till now 2%. So we have 98% of living organisms that created from Rabbina subhanahu wa ta'ala have extinct, 98% from the beginning of the earth. This is the reason of old extinct. Number one, the meteorites. Meteorites have the cause or the main cause of large number of extinction. Number two, volcano. Also the volcano produce poisonous gas and cloud. This poison gas caused many living organisms to die. And there was another reason, which is the beginning of the glacial age. What's meant by the glacial age is the ice age. Okay, let's see together. Okay, extinction. This is the definition of extinction. It is the continuous decreases without compensation in the number of a certain species of living organism until all members of the species die out. All, we may say that it is the death of all members of the species. Okay, this is the definition of what? Extinction, and what's meant by extinction. Okay, example of extinction: the dinosaur, Archaeopteryx, and fish fossil. They are all living organisms which lived a million years ago. Okay, reasons of extinction, as we said, the reasons of old extinction, the old ages, and in the old ages, the extinction with macro or with a massive, large number, not a species or 2 million of living organisms extinct at once. Due to what? Due to meteorites that impact with Earth, and we know what's meteorites. It's a large or a huge masses that penetrate our atmosphere and hit the Earth. The violent earth of the movement, like the earthquake, the movement of the crust, the onset of a long glacial age. What's meant by glacial age? The ice age. And number four, the emission of poisonous gases from the active volcano. These four reasons hold the reason of the old or the massive extinction. Okay, now we are going to see the reasons of the extinct in the recent ages. Okay, the main reasons is destroying the natural habitat, cutting the forest, cutting the tree, and we know that the tree, a lot of living organisms live on it or shelter on it. So by cutting the tree, a lot of species have no homes, and this may cause extinction of this living organism. Overhunting, we know that a lot of people hunt animals for their skin or for their fur, for medical uses or for industrial uses, or to wear them. So overhunting is the reason in the recent extinction. Another cause of the recent extinction is the environmental pollution, the pollution of the water and the air. Number 4, the climatic changes like a natural disaster, the volcano, the earthquake. This is cause the extinction of the recent living organism. Okay, so we discussed now the old reason and the recent reason. Okay, this is climatic change, drought, no water. Okay, now we are going to see the living organism which recent. This is the old time, dinosaur, an old species. Okay, become extinct from 66 million years. Mammoth, that we said it in the last lesson, that's called the grandpa of the elephant, and it was found in Siberia. Now the species in the recent time that become extinct, dodo bird. Okay, and this dodo bird in Indian called the stupid. It was extinct due to its small wing and short legs, cannot fly, so it's over hunter. Quagga, this animal was extinct. Like we see, it's a midway of a horse and zebra. It's a horse and its skin looks like the zebra, and this animal has extinct recently. Okay, and we call it midway between horse and zebra. Panda, this is an endangered species. What we call it endangered species, that it found but with a little number. Okay. Okay, let's summing up, or let's revise what we have said till now. We begin the session with the definition of the extinction, which dying all the members of the species. Then we explain the reason of old extinct animal or the massive extinction, and we said that's due to meteorites and the glacial age and volcanoes, poisonous gas, and the movement of the earth. And we said that the old extinct animal like the dinosaur and the mammoth. Then we discuss the recent cause, which is climatic change and pollution, overhunting and destroying the natural habitat. From the recent extinct animal is the quagga and the dodo bird. Now these animals are extinct, and we said that there is no living organism left anymore, not even a one. We have another living organism, we call them endangered. Endangered means these living organisms are found already in the earth, but in a very small number, and they must be saved to protect them from extinction. Endangered species are the living organisms that found but with a little number, and if they are not kept safe, they are going to be extinct. From these endangered species are the panda, and the panda is endangered because it feeds on a bamboo tree, which is a rare tree, and it reproduced by 2 in all its life. Only 2 child give by the panda, so the cause of the endangering is the rare of the food and the rare in the reproduction. Now, in order to keeping the panda and increasing its number, we establish a protectorate. What's meant by protectorate? It is a safe area established or built in the homeland of the living organism. Aiming what? Aiming to increase the number and protect this species from endangered. So protectorate means a safe area established in the homeland of the species, endangered species, that's found in a little numbers. In order to what? In order to protect it. What's the reason of endangering? The rareness of the food or the weakness of the production. Now we have panda, an endangered species. We also have the rhinoceros. The rhinoceros, for its horn, overhunting, so its number is decreased and it is an endangered species. We also have a plant, it's called piperous plant, okay, نبات البادي, and this is endangered plant. Why it is endangered? This plant grow in the swamp, okay, in the water that's not clear, and all this swamp have been removed, so there is no place to grow, and this caused the decrease the number of this plant. Also from the endangered species, the apis bird. The apis bird was live a lot from recently in Aswan, and the number of this species apis bird decreased. Why? Because the nest or the habitat or their homes have been drawn after building the high dam. So all the nest homes of this bird have been drowned, so a little number is found now, and it is endangered species. Okay, let's have a look together about the endangered species. As we said, the panda bear, rhinoceros, okay, and this is for over hunting, it is an endangered species. Apis bird, okay, which live in Aswan and endangered because of the high dam. We have also the bald eagle. It is endangered because it feed on the fish, and the fish was in a polluted water, and so it eat the poisonous fish. And the piperous plant, as we said, grow in the swamps, and we remove the swamps because it causes pollution. Okay, this is the endangered species. Okay, now we are going to have a new definition, which is called the food chain. What's meant by food chain? As we said, that the food chain is a path of energy transmitted from a living organism to another in the ecosystem. But again, let's explain it. When the animal feed on another animal, for example, an insect feed on the plant, and another living organism feed on the insect, which feed on the plant. But again, the chain start with a plant because it's make its own food. Insect feed on the plant, and the insect is eaten by another living organism. Okay, why we eat? To obtain energy. So we transmit the energy from the plant to the insect, and from the insect to the another living organism in the form of food. This is, we call it food chain. So what's meant by food chain? It's transmitting of the energy in the form of what? In the form of food, okay, from one living organism to another. Type. We have a new word which is called ecosystem. What's meant by ecosystem? Ecosystem is an area which contain everything living and non-living organism. We have two types of ecosystem: simple ecosystem like the desert, and complicated ecosystem like the tropical forest. Let's make a comparison between the desert and the tropical forest. In the desert, we have a few species or a few living organisms live in the desert because the rare of water, because the hotness of the weather, so a very few members or a few species or a little number of living organisms live in the desert. So we call the desert simple ecosystem. Let's describe the tropical forest. It contains a large number of species and large number of living organisms. Okay, we have a varieties of plants, we have varieties of living organisms and insects and all species. So we call it complicated ecosystem because it's have a large members of living organisms or species. If one of the species is absent, I will remove one of the species from both ecosystem, the simple and the complicated. يعني from the desert remove a species, and from the tropical forest remove one of the species. In the desert we will find that the all ecosystem will be affected, severely affected. Why? Because this living organism will feed on this species. If this species is absent, it will be also affected because there is no alternative. There is no another living organism to feed on it. مفيش بدائل to eat on it or to feed on it. So all the system will be affected. No alternative. So in the simple ecosystem, it is severely affected by the absence of the species because it is no alternative to feed on or to live on it. Let's have a look on the complicated ecosystem. It's not affected. Why? Because there is no many alternative. One species is absent, there is a lot of another species. He can, a living organism will feed on this or this or this. He has many alternatives to feed on it. So the absence of one species will not be affected in the complicated ecosystem. Why? Because it consists of multiple members or many members, so it will not be affected. Okay, let's see this together. Okay, this is the food web, a group of food chain connected together. Each one feed on another, so it will together affect each other. Okay, as we see, food chain and food web like this started with the plant, and the locust is eaten by the frog, snake eat the frog, and owl eat the snake. Then end with the owl, it will die, and the living organism which called saprophyte, which live on the dead organism, will, or the decomposer will feed on the dead organic and return to the soil, and again will be absorbed by the plant. This is the food web, group of food chain connected with each other. Okay, now this is, as we see, the desert, as we see, few members. Okay, so it's strongly affected by the absence of one species, no alternative. The varieties of the food will be rare or very little amount. Okay, so few members of living organism. Now we are going to answer this give reason. Give reason. In the simple ecosystem, it is strongly affected by the absence of one of its species. Strongly affected. Why it is strongly affected? Because of the rarity of alternative. There is no another living organism to feed on it that compensate this absent. So it will be also affect the whole food chain. This, as we see, tropical forest, as we see, rich in living organism, a lot of plants, complicated ecosystem. So what's meant by complicated ecosystem? It is the ecosystem that has multiple members, not affected much by the absence of these species. Okay, let's have the give reason. Why the complicated not affected much by the absence of one of its species? Because it has many alternatives. Because what? It has many alternatives. Okay, now we are going to see what's meant by natural protectorate. Okay, we said that in order to save the endangered species, I have a little amount of this living organism. So if I left this species without interference, it will die and become extinct. So in order to save these endangered species, I'm going to, in their homeland where they lived, I'll make a safe area, keeping away from the pollution, industrial factories, anything, and I concentrate on the medical care. And we call it what? Natural protectorate. So natural protectorate means safe area for the endangered species to in their homeland. Okay, example of this protectorate, we have the panda protectorate. This is found in north of China. And we have another one for the gray bear, and we call it the bluestone protectorate, which found in the USA, United States of America. And in Egypt we have Wadi Hitan, and Wadi Hitan found in El Fayoum. This contain about 400 skeleton of a whale fossil, so the protectorate. And the first protectorate that's established in Egypt was Ras Muhammad protectorate. Ras Muhammad contain a rare species of birds and plant, colored fish that's not found in any place but in this place, and coral, and it is a rare coral reefs. So Ras Muhammad is a protectorate for many species, colored fish, reefs, and the rare species. Okay, let's see together. Bluestone, okay, a protectorate, and this is found in United States of America, and this is for the gray bear. And we have another protectorate, panda protectorate, and it's found in the northeastern of China, where the panda live in the north of China. The other protectorate we are going to discuss like this, colored fish, Ras Muhammad, and it is found in what? In the south of Sinai, Janub Sina, okay, and it contains rare species, coral reefs, and colored fish. And as we see, okay, this is the last protectorate we have, which is called Wadi Hitan, found in Wadi Rayyan and Wadi Rayyan in El Fayoum government. It contains a complete whale skeleton fossil from 40 million years ago. This is the last protectorate we have. Okay, now we explain our lesson, the definition of the extinction and the recent cause of extinction, the old causes of extinction, and how we protect the endangered species, and the types of the example of protectorate found in Egypt and outside Egypt. Now we reach our end of this syllabus. Until we meet again next week, thanks for watching us, and good